Jeff Pasquino, Football Guys. Your fantasy football questions. Text ESPN and your question to the number 89,000. Text ESPN and your question to the number 89,000. We'll try to get as many questions off as we can. We'll start with the QBs. We got Thursday Night Football tonight. We got Falcons and Saints. Jeff Pasquino from thefootballguys.com is with us. Jeff, welcome back. Let's start with the game tonight. We got Falcons and we've got the Saints. The Saints have been a mess, but who are some of the guys that should be active tonight?
Well, the number one guy for Atlanta has to be Devonta Freeman. The Saints can't stop the run at all. The Eagles ran all over them last week, and I expect Willie Snead to be the guy for as a wide receiver. If you don't have him, or if he's not picked up in your league, pick up Snead for the Saints. He's probably their top wide receiver right now.
Picked him up last week, thanks to Jeff, and it worked out very well for me. All right, let's look at some of the quarterbacks out there, Jeff, here. As I want to go with Eli Manning, who, he's been kind of a guy that he's typically not a fantasy guy in years past, but how about this year for Eli against the Eagles?
Well, it's interesting because they're running out of receivers for the Giants last Sunday. So it really depends on who's active. But Eli Manning is a seasoned veteran. He can get the ball around. And the Eagles are pretty good in the run defense right now. So I expect that game to be on Sunday night or Monday night to be very high scoring, a lot of passing. I think Eli's going to be a top 10 quarterback.
Jeff, I thought because the guy I played against had luck, his backup was Bortles, that I had a nice week there. No, Bortles blew me up last week. Should he be in your lineup this week?
I actually like Blake Bortles. I think he's starting to come around. He's got the non-brothers and Allen Robinson and Allen Kearns for Jacksonville. Both of those guys are stepping up nicely as receivers. Blake Bortles is settling in nicely, and they got Yeldon at the running back, who's hurt this week, so they're going to have to throw against Houston. Not an easy answer, but I think Bortles is going to get the job done and play really well as a high-end QB2 this week.
How about Mariota? Got off to a great start. Haven't heard a lot about him the last couple of weeks.
I really don't trust the Tennessee offense. The running game is a mess. They're still cobbling together some offense. He's a rookie. He's learning. He doesn't have a running back to lean on. Defense is pretty decent, but I don't trust him, and I think Miami wins that game this week.
I know you liked Vic. He's now going into his third week. You trusted him as a starter?
No, don't trust him. Don't trust him at all. I'm still avoiding Vic as much as possible. I have him as outside the top 20 this week.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. Text ESPN and your questions to 89,000. What are you telling the Lamar Miller owners out there? They got a new coach coming off a bye.
I'm thinking just hold on. Maybe this will be a decent week, but I'm still holding my breath. Against Tennessee, that's a good matchup. He could do pretty well, but he's not a solid running back one by any means. He's a solid running back two bye-week filler for me.
Everybody's been told to go out and get Charcandrick West from Kansas City. So many times we get a guy off the top number one waiver wire spot and he falters. Is this going to be the case with West?
I think you got to wait and see. I'm really looking to see what Andy Reid does, and who knows what he does every given week. We know that story. So I really think they lean on Niall Davis a lot more than people were thinking. So I think West was a solid pickup this week, but I'm waiting for a week or two to see how he gets mixed into the offense.
C.J. Anderson, first-round pick. I know people have been asking me, should I trade him? Should I cut him? What are you telling them?
Well, you have to hold on to him and hope it turns around. But right now, Denver's running game is not solid, and Ronnie Hillman's looked better than Anderson.
Duke Johnson, Cleveland. Are you liking this guy starting to get some more touches over Crowell?
I don't like. Well, both of them I have like running back 3 flex area. I don't like either one, especially. Cleveland's throwing the ball a lot more with Hoyer. I just don't trust the Browns on a week-to-week basis.
A lot of people took Jeremy Hill first round. Bernard Hill. What are you telling the Bengal running back owners?
Well, you got to hold on to Hill because he's a solid component of that offense. But Cincinnati, if they're ahead, they'll run Hill. If they're behind and they need to throw, they'll use Bernard. And lately, they've had to use Bernard.
All right, let's look at some of the wide receivers here. Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. You just mentioned the Giants. Is there a guy that if OBJ is out and if maybe Randall can't go, or even if these guys are limited, is there a guy that you like in New York?
Well, I'm actually liking Larry Donnell and Shane Vereen to be options there. I don't see much else for the Giants. I think the only other guy I would throw out there is Harris. I think Dwayne Harris is a slot receiver. He's a decent pickup, and he's got some value. He probably sees a lot of targets, but getting open if there's nobody big outside, it's going to be tough.
How about Marquise Wilson in Chicago? I saw with Alshon Jeffrey banged up that he's a guy that seemed like he's been putting up some points the last couple of weeks.
He got a late touchdown and helped him out a lot. He ran a nice fade route there, but I think Jeffrey's going to be back sooner rather than later. And don't forget that Kevin White might be coming back soon too. So I think he's a good patchwork guy for a week-to-week basis, but I wouldn't hold my breath every week.
All right, Jeff Pasquino from thefootballguys.com. We're setting your week number 6 fantasy football lineup. Question coming in: should I trade Carlos Hyde, Cooks, and Travis Benjamin for LaShawn McCoy and DeAndre Hopkins? I mean, McCoy's been banged up. What do you do there?
Well, I'm not really pursuing McCoy, especially with Tyrod Taylor now a little bit banged up with an MCL issue. I'm actually liking that San Francisco-Baltimore game to be very high-scoring and a lot of throws. There's a lot of narrative going back to the receivers, Anquan Bolden, Torrey Smith, former Ravens there. But I wouldn't pursue McCoy. I think he's lost a step, maybe two.
Yeah, I got another McCoy question. How about should I trade LaShawn McCoy for Gronkowski in a keeper league?
I wouldn't even wait to get my answer. Just hit yes. Take Gronkowski.
Take Gronkowski. Of course, everybody looking for some tight end help there. Another question about Marquise Wilson asking, should I play Marquise Wilson or Cecil Shorts this week?
Interesting. I would go with Marquise Wilson this week just because they needed more healthy bodies in Chicago, and I think they're going to do well indoors at Detroit.
This guy wants to know, will Charles Johnson from Minnesota, will he ever get back in the mix?
They really don't know. Bridgewater is spreading the ball around nicely, and they have Adrian Peterson, which is their main offensive weapon. I don't have any particular wide receiver that I love for Minnesota. No one's really emerging as a true number one.
Do you like Kamar Aiken is a question here. I know you like that Ravens game.
I do, and Aiken is probably going to be no worse than the wide receiver 2 for Baltimore, and I think Joe Flacco's running pretty hot right now, and I think he's a solid play. I like Aiken this week.
Another question said, Jeff, last week you told us Jalen Strong. Are you playing him again?
Well, he didn't get enough targets, but I mean, he was a great tournament play, great, what the heck kind of throw in there, and he rewarded everybody. Right. Houston, Jacksonville, I think the play for Houston this week is a lot of Arian Foster. Jacksonville couldn't stop Doug Martin to save their lives last week. Arian Foster's going to run all over them this week. That's
my guy there, Foster and Forte, the 2 Fs, taking me to another title, and Jeff's help as well. Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. Always great insight. All the waiver wires, guys to play, trends, and more with Jeff and the guys at footballguys.com. Good luck to you, Jeff.
Good luck, Mike. Always a pleasure. Enjoy the games.
Always a pleasure with the insight there. I got Willie Snead. Picked him up last week. Led me to a victory.